Okay, this is going to be a introductory, essentially, kind of a class of how to be nav. What's going to happen is I'm essentially going to do a couple of missions um, for the Navy and show you kind of how I battle nav and show you the thought process. So to let you know, kind of know what I'm doing, I'm legendary, almost all. Um, been full legendary a couple times, just haven't grinded out the ult. Um, So one of the things I'm going to recommend is using Quartermaster. It's a program you can download from the guide this video is going to be in. If you're in the crew and haven't seen the guide, check Discord. It will be there. If you're from YouTube, I'll also have a link to it in the description. And you can do it that way. So, apologies if my audio is messed up. I should have it tuned well, but if there's an issue, I can always remake it. So, first thing I'm going to go over is what ship you want to use. So I have a Bagla here. I would use a Bagla. It's my preferred ship to actually pillage with, to be honest, besides Grand Frigates with Mercs. It's just very easy to fill, and because you can fill it so easily, you can get good ramp, whereas sloops are like very doable by themselves as well. So do I have a sloop available that's stocked? I think I have one. Okay, I guess I'll go to bar, but I have one there. So, one thing you could always do if you want to practice battle nav is battle bring into the Navy. It's a mission here on the right. You can see, um, you'll have the option to do this once you get narrow experience in navigation, like the DNAV puzzle. And you get that option once you have enough experience in normal puzzles. It's a weird combination. It's like essentially like broads or solids and shit like that. You can always battle burgers with the Navy. You get 20%. I'm probably not going to do that really, just because I don't fuck up my rank that much. Um, fuck it. Whatever. Who cares? So if you do this for practice, one of the first things I do is I check the rep, and I make sure that essentially your goal is to find someone who's like, so he's good on sales. He's good on sales. You want to find the one that's really good on gunning and put them on gunning. Because gunning is kind of necessary proficient. Oh well, unlucky. Others are respected. Reticent. So, so you'll notice that you have buttons here, but you won't have the full buttons. That's because you're on a Navy vessel, so you only have limited kind of control of what you can do. So normally on a pillage, you want to have the order that you do it uh, via sailing. You want to have that first. Then you want to have make sure you have like a competent gunner, of course, but it doesn't always hype you on guns. Bots can work depending on the vessel. Um, Mercs are actually pretty okay at gunning. It's just on smaller ships with mercenaries, you'll notice there's a bit of a. There'll be times you can't shoot when you want to. That's just the nature of the beast, unfortunately. When you get damage, believe it or not, your big thing you want is carp, or sorry, bilge, because bilge is what saps your move. Carp just increases your bilge. So, Quartermaster is really handy because has a little chart here you can use. Say you're versus a rig, it'll tell you exactly what it takes to max it and to sync it. All kinds of useful stats. That's helpful. Especially like having a really good wiki. The beauty tab will help tell you what your share is going to be. Also has a bounty counter for like your current score. There's also a tool here that you can see that will help you tell what ship is when you're doing that. It even lets you print it. I only don't really use that. The main thing I use it for, ironically, is the blacklist here will help me automatically add people that I want to add to the blacklist to kick them automatically if I so choose. Um, so when we're trying to find a fight, the big thing we have to worry about is spawns. Okay, so when you have a duty navigator, you'll spawn what you have your range is. So actually, I probably should go to a fucking ship and do this, matter of fact. But it's whatever. So it says average to hard. I do hard to very hard because I need chips to actually maintain my rating. Plus, if you once you get like the basic summon battle nav, if you don't allow yourself to get like grappled super easily, you don't really have to worry as much about it. Um, However, if you go to the super hard routes, which you can tell the hard difficulty of a route by zooming in on the color. So notice how this is almost see-through, this is a bit darker, that's darker, and then up here, that's insanely dark. So essentially the color of the league point determines how difficult the route is. I normally pillage run Osprey, which is this archipelago and Emerald. Uh, Go from bar, bounce between islands, things like that. But really, you can pillage anywhere. In fact, on my Baglo, what I do is I'll just kind of coast from Outer Kent and then pillage from Al Kent to Bowditch and just go back here over and over again. And that's what I'll do. It's actually a good way to get Kraken's Blood. It's actually fairly consistent with Kraken's Blood, as a matter of fact. Um, Holy shit, I'm lagging. So this is a really terrible spawn. So the difficulty at the Might Ring is actually really low. Here's the problem, is Fawn Shots are probably the most bullshit reason why I don't like pillaging on sloops. Sloops are a very good basic vessel to start with because the reason being is that it's so cheap to stock that that if even if things go really badly, you can always like recover. The biggest problem with it is they outgun you. So wow, this is like so horrendous. Actually, I'm just gonna go forward here because you can't trade broadsides with a Fonchon because they fire large cannonballs, so you lose that. So what I'm gonna do here is I've identified an area essentially that if they want to go to, I can force them to come this way. The goal essentially is they could of course like always like ram against us and trade shots that way, but the goal of course is to make it so they can't shoot me, hopefully, while I can shoot them. It's not as ideal because it's a Franchon, so if I do trade shots, I lose horribly. It's the worst matchup of any ship ever, probably. The one benefit is that they move 3 moves, but I don't think that's enough in fucking normal play that it matters. Somebody shoot from 3 onward because it takes them a move to go here, move to go here, move to go here. They may do something where it takes a bit, um, so they're doing a full thing. They might just go forward, right, left here and shoot twice. That would really suck, but not much I can do. As you can see on the chart here, is they only take, like, I believe it's 8 shots to max. Yeah, it takes 8 shots to max them for sloops. They can max you in 3. It is so rough. And the barbarians. Doesn't matter as much just because, yeah, 3-1. Believe it or not, we're equal on damage. So I'm doing a left because this is one of the moves. I want to be out of range, so if they do try to shoot, they can't shoot me. But if they do boom against the walls, I have the capability. Remember, is this whole area is essentially force them to come to me in a way that I can't get grappled, but I can shoot them. The only way I ever get shot is if they right, forward, left here, which they could. It's okay to waste shots. This isn't really a big deal. See, I would be hesitant to be here because there's like rocks blocking my way, but one bump isn't that bad. I mean, honestly, I could even do something like right forward here intentionally, but I don't feel the need to because they only have 3 moves. What they could do is they could left here, they could forward here, and then move forward. But then I've already hit them 6 times, so they do that. Okay. In this situation, they pretty much will always immediately grapple. They'll turn and grapple. Now, if you try this against Burger Kings, they will hand you your ass sometimes. I will go ahead and move this just in fucking case, but I doubt they're gonna just turn left and grapple here probably. Yeah. So they're max. We took one, took a ram. I'll just talk more about the general situation once I do some rumbling. Not really that big of a deal. When they're this wounded, it's relatively easy. As you notice, took a shit ton of damage, uh, even though you really shouldn't have. It's just Fonchons are hard, man. There's not much else to say about it. Fonchons are really fucking difficult. So the loot is always gonna be pretty shit. You only get, I think it's 20%. So you definitely don't want to do missions for loot. But they are a decent D9 practice. All right, welcome back. This is the second part of this. It'll be in the same video, of course. Um, so this is going to start off by what settings I use to get legendary. So essentially, is I have it one tick below high and put it up to here. This is the type of people I spawn with. I always do brigands only because mercenaries are way better in sword fights, and I do this. Boom. Hard to very hard. The route, as explained earlier, um, Admiral to Alikent, Scurvy to Bowditch. Probably not going to do all of that. Just do 1 or 2 battles and whatnot. I recommend having a decent statement. Okay. So I'm not really going to make that much money with just like me, but it's not really that big of a deal. So there is kind of a bug with this particular ship where I have to like worry about duty nav, but I always make sure you have a duty naver from the mercs. So in order to get past the bug, I have to order them off the sales to do it, so they'll actually do it, and then I order another person to sales, and of course fill up the guns. You can always check how many people are on a station versus max stations by hovering over it. Always make sure your sales are capped, of course. And so the big benefit of of this would be the Bagla. Big benefit of the Bagla is that it fires double mediums, which is actually more damage than a large. But because your main ship is actually a merchant galleon, this is really important for a few reasons. One, the merchant galleon can actually be merchants, so you can actually get a merchant on expedition. In addition to that, which is like the largest ship that it can be, by the way. So you do like Grand Frigate Pillages, you're never gonna get a merchant expedition. It's just not going to happen. You may see merchants on the ocean, but if you attack them, they'll be like blue or turquoise, and you'll get black shipped. So that's bad. For those who don't know, black ship essentially is a AI ship that spawns when you attack people that are way weaker than you. And what happens is essentially they're unbeatable. They are like ghost ships, go through rocks, shit like that, and they max you and grapple you. You basically can't beat them. The only thing you can possibly do maybe is run. I've only done it on a sloop. If you have 3 moves, you can't do it because they move 4. They're bullshit. But they only appear if you're attacking like people weaker than you. Um, so as you notice, it takes 12 shots to max them. We fire 2 per shot, so it takes 6 shots for us to max the merchant guy. Conversely, for our ship, I don't care, whatever. For our ship, it takes 6 largest to max us. So really, it's essentially 6 shots to max the Baglow. So this is something that you really never find. Let me check my fucking. Where it is. Okay. All right. So that's a hotkey. So so the big benefit of that is that normally the way they balance it is that AI are so bad in BNAV that they kind of they kind of have to cheat to make it a challenge, right? Especially on the harder routes. So they spawn essentially way bigger ships than you that you have to like out nav to have a chance of winning. Um, on the hardest difficulties, like super hard difficulties on hard routes, um, what will happen is um, you'll come across a ship that has absolutely like more people on it than you can have. Like for example, on sloops, you'll notice this is the max you can have on a sloop for players like us is 7. However, AI can have 9 or 10 people on the sloop, and that's just one example. Um, in addition to that, uh, is you have a lot of so they always have advantage, right? So they have more people than you do. So they expect you to be able to deal damage to them so that you can essentially win the fight. Because bots, what they do is they ramp up over time. See, players, the way we work essentially is we tend to go in bursts, and how good of a sword fight player you are basically is determined by how quickly you make a burst and how effective that burst is. So it's your spawn. Notice how it turned around. That's our spawn. It's also look at the difficulty. It's the range we want. Mostly harmless. This is kind of rip. My rank's gonna go down. Fucking cringe. But it is what it is. Your spawn will always engage you. It's always important to let them engage you because your ramp is determined on making sure that it's the right spawn and it's always your spawn. Plus, if you lose the fight, you can immediately re-engage and you can get some of your money back and some of the things you looted back. Like if I've lost Kraken Blood, I can get Kraken Blood back, for example. This is actually a pretty shit spot, I'll say. I wish this rock wasn't here. I'm gonna have to do here is I'm gonna have to like pump some moves into left here in my max sales. I am. So I'm anticipating he's gonna go up here this way. That's what they typically do, like the easiest, simplest way they can get you, right? I would love to be able to fight them kind of in this area. You don't want to fight them around whirlpools, because they are kind of cheaters. They will use it better than you can, because they're bots. One thing that's especially important is don't do risky moves. Like if these rocks weren't here and I could somehow end up right here, what they will do is they are much more likely to read your moves and cheat in order to um, get an early grapple. That's the number one source of losses is early grapples. Because remember, is the game is balanced around you having some kind of damage on them. This is kind of risky, actually. There is a way I get had here, actually. Matter of fact, if they left right and then pause right, I get had. But we'll see. Yeah, they exactly what they did. See, early on in the turns, they're much more willing to look at your moves in order to do this. Now they're at 30% damage. They're also mostly harmless, so it's not really a big of a deal. You can't see their difficulty inside it. You have to look at it before you get engaged. That's why it's important for the captain to be inside the crow's nest because it lets you detect that. Okay, I'll see you after this fight. Okay, so welcome back after the fight. So as I was saying, it looks like they're very easy. The loot you get from ships is totally determined by the amount of pirates you have on board, by the way. However, the amount of goods you use while you do it, like your rum spice, your rum, and your cannonballs, or not. That's why if you do things like solo bagla, you're going to lose money, like I'm probably about to. Um, so it essentially what I'm trying to say is don't do this at home. It won't really solo baglas don't really work out. All right, this is a perfect example. Merchants. See how they're merchants at the bottom? They're imperial. That's a rank. This is going to be a hardship. So essentially, if I want to win this, I have to make sure that I do I don't fuck up. Because it's going to be a really hard fight. Holy shit, these maps are pretty terrible. Not gonna lie. I might just do here is I'm gonna actually store up my tokens. I'm not gonna move. Because essentially the way it what happens is in most fights um, is that they tend to have a lot of moves and then they sputter out near the end. However, there are some times where they don't. They feel like they have unlimited moves. I kind of call those diesel engines. Um, I'm like I can smell the diesel from here. But yeah, sometimes they feel like they have a lot more moves than they really should. Um, so what he's probably gonna do is he's probably gonna forward right here. So I'm gonna do my wait token first, shoot here, shoot twice, and head left. Because the area I want to fight them is going to be in this area right here, specifically before these whirlpools if I can. Remember, all I need just like 5 or 6 shots. You don't have to necessarily max them unless you're going for rank. If you are going for rank, you pretty much always have to max them. You don't really have a choice. Okay, they did that. That's so weird. So I really don't need to do anything here. I'm just going to chill, store up some more moves. Moves do expire. So basically, they move from left to the right to the left. It's how long it takes to expire. So I'm going to have 3 rounds till my forward moves expires. Three rounds till 2 of my right tokens expire. 3 rounds till 1 of my left moves expire, for example. So you can only store up so many. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to do triple left. So it's going to go left, left to left. So the idea is that if he goes left, forward, 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 I'm in a position to shoot him. And if he goes forward, forward, left, it's not that big of a deal. Actually, I still win that because, again, we trade evenly because of the type of ship he is. And he's also going to have, and she's also going to he's also going to have ram damage. I'm gonna do my way token here and shoot because they're probably gonna take a left here and shoot, or left here and grapple and shoot. However, I can't afford to shoot twice because they can go forward and then left. So I'm gonna go forward, move down here. Didn't anticipate that, I'll say for sure. Kind of the same deal, but now I've reverse teed them, so I can shoot them. They can't really shoot me. It's a good idea to try to shoot them well or like that, but you got to be careful of being teed. Essentially, is if they were like over here and I was doing that. That's me being teed. That's not good. I know that looked really cool. But that wasn't entirely all planned. It's just generally good decisions made. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna be patient. I'm gonna shoot once to make sure I have them maxed. Because I believe it's like 5 shots I've done. If I remember correctly, it's like one. That's three. Yeah, it should be like maxed with one. My goal here is to get them to go forward. Once they've been shot a lot, they lose moves and they gate forwards more easily. Yep, there it is. It should be a max 0. Almost red merchants. Merchants are very difficult in sword fight. So there's still a solid chance I lose, to be honest. Because merchants are just fucking OP. They're like uber imps. Merchants also tend to have good commodities on them. I guess I could take the opportunity to explain, since I am making a world guide, I guess I could talk about things like grease and stuff, but um, that may come in a different video. We'll see, I may cut this part out. Depends how lazy I am. So what I'm trying now to do is just trying to build up a good block. Even though I don't have greedies, it's still a good practice. Because the way bots work is that they don't care so much about like the type of sword you have. What they care about is total amount of blocks sent to them. And there's actually a formula, you can actually look it up on the wiki, of determines how many blocks get sent. It's actually fairly complicated. All I got to think about it is essentially is when something is in a combo, the part that's in the combo receives a bonus, right? So what I'm going to do here is, so I do the yellow and I do the blue, that gets normalized, that's one block, and then that gets the double on that. Now for this, because this is part of a combo, is the green gets that bonus. Since it's a very large block, it's a very large, this is going to insta that bottom. I might grief this when I'm paying attention. Only being tactile on, so I don't need to stall. And the thing is when is all what you see there is actually not really what's happening on their screen. They don't actually puzzle like we do. All it is a series of numbers, and when they hit a certain amount, is then they start sending instas. Is when they start getting focused by like multiple people. Um, I haven't heard this in a while, but essentially, is there used to be myth where depending on who you targeted, they may be tougher or weaker. All bots are the same. So it doesn't matter if they have a hat or different colors, or that's never been proven. Oh, whoops. Actual garbage. Well, but that's what you get for having solo pillage. You can't really expect to actually make money. Even if you win all your battles, you're probably going to break even mostly. All right, so we're back about to get into a battle. Um, so this is a really good time to point out. So the orange might ring is actually pretty okay. Is what they call the difficulty levels. Notice how they're imperial. That's because I have two people on my ship now, and my might has increased. So essentially, might is influenced by a few factors, namely win condition, how decisive the last victory was. So if you win with lots of people, like I had that max 0, so I get spawned really tough ships. So if I do forward right, is there any way you could grapple me? No. So that's why I'm starting to spawn Imperials. Now this is actually my spawn, whereas the other one wasn't. It was just a random merchant ship I happened to come across, luckily. So I'm gonna have to be extra careful here because we spawned like really close together. Left right here is fine because I can't get grapple because even if he goes forward 3, he can't get me. He could left and shoot. That would kind of suck, but I wouldn't expect that unless I'm in a harder route. I'm not even past Kent yet, so. I'm gonna use this as a free way to change my orientation. I'm gonna go left here, forward, left. I'm gonna wait, pause, left here, shoot. Oh shit, I need more guns. Okay, so we're on the top side of the T. As long as you're on the top side of the T, there's actually a fairly easy way to prevent getting owned. So in PvP, this won't work, by the way, against good players. So don't try this in fucking PvP. Okay? You fight players, they're not brigands, they're not barbarians, they're not they're not fucking merchants, they're players. This won't work against good players. So you go forward, he'll turn right, do this. Go left, left, shoot. Okay. So they are maxed. Max 2. Not awful. Now the trick is to grapple them when they're getting owned. So there's a slight chance to get shot here. I'm gonna shoot on this just so I can wear them down. It's okay to overshoot if you're trying to sap their moves. You can actually grapple them safely. That's actually a strategy. I call it the Brat maneuver because I learned it from him. Well, not really learned it from him. More like it's convenient. It's actually good. It's actually a good example to demonstrate. So if they were back one slot like they were right here, I could move right forward and then blast them. I could still do that and hit them, of course. But the idea would be to continue shoot them until they move forward once, and you could turn twice. Say I'm actually going to move forward here and shoot, because I don't have enough tokens to, or enough space in my token board to move enough to grapple them immediately. I did anticipate that they would use a whirlpool. They are difficult bots, so I'm not actually going to do like depending on how you'll learn this as you play. But essentially, you have to be kind of careful of certain aggressive moves, like going right here and then left. They could actually shoot, and then they could turn like left in order to absolutely own you. I'm just gonna get out of that situation. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm going to grapple from this over. Now, Brigand Kings tend to be like harder to nav against because they tend to have like better AI. Like a hard Brigand King would go forward, 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 and then just blast the shit out of you and totally cheat. But this is probably gonna go forward and then left. Yeah. Yep. Max 2. Not bad. Two lines of damage isn't that bad. That's pretty manageable. Okay. I'll see you after the battle. All right, so this is a great point to point out that when you in fact do get into fights, make sure you don't build up too fucking high. Otherwise, this will happen, and you don't get the breakers you need, and then you get a big sword that fucks up your combo, and you have a bad time. Apparently, I also am very bad at counting, because that's definitely not max. Whoops. Because I thought for sure I had them maxed. Whoops. Alright, let's try this again. I'm gonna take off auto. I'm gonna kind of try hard here. Take off auto to predict my next move because I know I'm gonna do about 2, 3 moves. My goal essentially is to bring it over this way, grapple about right here if I can. Of course. What a bitch. I'm gonna play in the fucking cave. Okay, gonna go left forward here. It can be there. Somebody shoot. This is actually a really good time to show you the proper way of getting into the situation, essentially where you want to be. That was 2 shots. I suspect 2 shots here as well. Nope. And you're the right here. Come on, give me another right token. Thank you. Whoops. Give me another gun. Give me another gun. Give me another gun. No. Cringe. Sag. It's kind of a risk. Oh, shit. I mean, you could have a grapple there. That could have been really bad. Did it there because it's possible they didn't move. They like moved forward and threw off my entire timing. I did it just in case. There we go. Now, let's team and kill them all. Give me back my fucking cannonballs. I'm not gonna get like all 90 back, but I'll get like fucking 5 probably. Now that's better. All right, back to the next battle. So unfortunately, um, it looks like our might went down. Did I lose a player on my ship? That's probably what happened. No, I didn't. I did not lose a player. So us losing the battle and not winning it as decisively caused our might to go down. So now we're spawning drip parrots. Sag. So yeah. However, again, you don't have to max a ship if you want to win the battle. Like, there's actually a strategy I used that would make me a run master a lot of the time, which is basically it would make me more money over time because what I would do is I would arrange myself so I would do 68% of their health, of like their maxing, while taking little damage. But I would get very quick grapples, very quick battles, so I'd actually make more money per hour that way. However, if you really want money, just go to fucking like Atlantis or some shit. You know, pillaging isn't really great to make money unless you're the vessel owner. Let's be honest. Um, I actually could sit here and just drum up tokens. Um, so I still made more money that way. Oh, you only moved once. Okay. Um, but that would get me victories relatively easily, especially like in the archipelagos that aren't that difficult. However, if you start fighting around the Osprey and around Wissa, and you start fighting, you get like up on the ramp, you get like a lot of victories racked up. You'll start spawning some gnarly ships, and doing that and not getting a perfect BNAV will make the fight really hard. Um, Kind of like how that one was. Like you noticed how like during that fight, which I believe I had it on recording, is we died super fucking quickly in a massive burst, and that's because like misunderstood how much damage I did to him. Um, so that was not good. So I'm gonna go right, left, right here and shoot. I think they'll probably do left, left, right, but we'll see. I don't really do last second moves that much. You can, which is where you do like this. They don't have much time they quote unquote don't have time to react. But honestly, anyone that's played this a lot should know that they lie. It's they actually calculate very quickly. It's just they let you get away with it sometimes. However, if you last second move like twice a row or a lot very frequently, they'll start doing it to you too. And it's let's just say we're not a bot, so it's a lot harder for us to deal with. This is a very weird bot. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. I guess I have to do lash forward forward here and just blast the fuck out of them. It will be a bump, but it'll be fine. That's two. It's total possibility they just go left here and just blast the shit out of us. This may end up being a max max. I'm not about to let him just get a shit ton of damage like that for free. Let him fucking come to me. And sometimes the bots will do what we call defensively nabbing. And essentially what they'll do is they'll absolutely refuse to go anywhere near you. It's like the bots determine that they can't win, so they just fucking run. I once had vampires on a vampire expedition run from me on a ship, permanently have moves, and they just did nothing but fucking run for 45 minutes. 45 rounds. I went fucking insane. I was so pissed off. Got out of the line of sight. Just covering all the bases that he really could do. All right, so I pretty much covered everything I would need to in a sword fight, so I'll see you after the fight. All right, so this is the I just finished the previous battle, and looks like we're gonna make it to port without getting another one. So thank you all for watching. If you're interested in any more, of course, leave a comment down below. Anything like that you want, no big deal. If you're in the crew, you can also DM me anytime if you want to. If you have any questions you want answered, I'm more than happy to help you out. In any case, hope you all enjoyed. Have a good one.